What's up guys, it's Michael here. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to review the top 5 worst jobs in America ranging from 2018 down to today, the post-pandemic in 2021. So as you see in my previous video where I list the top 5 careers, you notice that most of them require an education or like a bachelor's and higher degree. But as you can see, the the growth potential for the job is really high, but at the same time, the income potential for it to go even higher is basically non-existent. It's basically stagnant because there is no room for growth since it's so specialized. Most of them do not have a potential for your wealth to expand and generate to the point of past the median of what majority of the United States income earners are. So we're gonna see the top 5 worst jobs listed by USA Today. The first one is a photographer. So their median annual wages they're saying is about $34,000 a year, which is, in today's standard, if you're living in California, at this point, why just go homeless? Because there's no way you'll survive with that amount of money. Because you still have to pay tax, gotta pay your rent. So that's basically a no-go. And they're saying the projected job growth from 2016 to 2026 is negative 5.6%, which with the total employment of 49,560. So, not surprising, photographer, since thanks to the new iPhones, the new smartphones, cameras are now not as useful as they used to be before. And also being professional in this niche is not as specialized. So it's not surprising that less people are requiring photographers to take their photos. But looking at this, the job growth and the specialty of it, it actually has a really high potential. So compare I listed before the top 5 jobs, I think they're like ranging between like 3.5% to lower, maybe 4% and lower. But this one, as I mentioned earlier, compared to the top 5 best jobs from ratings from 1 to 5, theirs were like 4 and lower. Most of them were hitting between 3 and 2 and 1. But you look at photographer, I believe this one actually has a really good potential. For example, the reason why I say this one's gonna be out of a scale 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, I said photographer has a 5 in income potential, be growing way more than $34,000 a year. So going down to number 2. Number 2 they list is a food server. So a food server, I'm pretty sure majority of people know this, is basically a restaurant waiter. An employee serves food to people. Yeah, of course. Looking at this job growth, they're saying annual wage is $23,000 a year. Basically nothing. Minimum wage. They say projected job growth from 2016 to 2026, 10.2%, because you gotta need people working on restaurants. Because now they're trying to make making food to be more automated, but personally seeing restaurants and those specialty stores, you're still gonna need waiters, so that job is not gonna disappear. And whether it can grow or not, this is close to a more niche area where a person can basically turn this living into a dream job, and it's not really high personally seeing this. And if the total employment they're saying is 200,000 266,190, which, okay, fine. It's quite a lot of people doing this because, requires no degree, working as a waiter in a restaurant, serving food to people. And it's saying in this article, it is a very difficult job, which I do agree with them. In a way, yes, it's very difficult because you have to deal with people. Gotta deal with people who are basically gonna give you a lot of crap, give you a lot of things, give you a lot of headaches. So that's a requirement. So as a stress level, personally, in my eyes, I suggest this is actually a pretty stressful job, depending where you like to deal with people or not. The wage and salary in this article, not that great, not surprised. And as for growth potential, so as a food server, only thing I can really see for them is growing. I mean, yes, you can try to mass market it, but in the same time, you're a food server. You at this point, your job growth is never really gonna go anywhere unless you're trying to work up, the corporate ladder. But from like a food server, maybe go up as a kitchen or cook, but I doubt it. Or you can become a manager up there. Out of the rest, I say just job growth is basically close to between a 1 and 2. I think getting closer to a 1 because there's not really much potential for you You climb the ladder and grow to the potential where you want to. So this, if you think you can make a living out of food server, I suggest you to find a different type of job. Maybe something, as I mentioned earlier, photographer, because that one's a more special niche that allows for a lot of growth. Food server, no chance. Number 3, it is a roofer. So a roofer, as the name suggests, climb on top of people's houses, build a roof for them. If it's leaking, to repair it. There's damages, you fix it. As for a stress level, they say it's really dangerous. Not surprising, because you're climbing more elevated areas. So to be safer, you have to strap yourself down. You gotta be working in whatever weather conditions that the climb permits. And they're saying they make about an average of $39,000 a year, so about 40K. And their projected job growth is between 2016 to 2026, 11.1%, with a total employment of 128,680 jobs. So, not a bad number, not too great. So, installing, repairing roofs, doesn't really require too much skill because you usually work under someone else as an employee. But whether or not this job has potential to grow, this I can see kind of like two ways it is. It does have a potential and it doesn't have a potential. So, if you're working as a roofer and you're working as an employee, you work under someone else. So, you can basically got to take the brunt of it. But here's an interesting thing. I find this does have some type of potential, but not as great as the one I mentioned, the first one, as one of the worst jobs as a photographer. A roofer, so you gotta look outside the box. The roofer, you always like, oh wait, so what? You're installing roofs for other people's houses. Maybe some new houses, repair some old houses. Big deal, right? But here's the trade. You look at it again, think of where is currently the economy going. So you look at energy. That's actually one niche that I believe the mass market is currently missing. The mass market is missing a niche such as solar. So right now, solar is becoming more and more popular. Renewable energy is becoming way more popular. So as a roofer, your job is to build roofs, right? So why don't you spin off your niche, such as maybe creating videos, maybe go on media, maybe showing other clients how to install their own solar power roofs. And now solar is getting way and way cheaper. You can even find retailers and suppliers and offer to your clients how to install a solar roof, how to install batteries hooked up to their roof. So if you do that as a niche, as a roofer, it has actually a really great potential to find new clients so you can show them how it's done. And that itself gives a great potential, instead of making $39,000 a year, as they said in this article, to making, I'll say at least, if you're able to, create a niche product within your job, I say you have a potential over 6 figures, guaranteed. If you're designing and roofs, specialty roofs for high-end paying clients. Even low-end paying clients have a potential. If you can give them a product that can help them save money, it'd be durable. Basically, that's the way to go. And solar, since it's getting way and more mainstream, I believe a roofer has a really good potential. So out of a scale of 5, I'll probably give this a 4 and a 4.5 out of 5. Really great potential for this. So don't look down on bad jobs, because bad jobs at the end can make more than the highest paying jobs. That's a trade-off of becoming an entrepreneur. You can take one of the worst situations or the worst jobs and turn it into a dream job. That's the whole point of this. So number 4, going down the list, we are seeing the next one. A welder. So, welder is you weld metals together, and you basically it's a high demanding job because a lot of people have to work in really unique situations. And of course, there's the hazards coming with it. Welding, dealing with, high heat, light, heavy metal objects, and it makes it really challenging. So they're saying, the job growth between 2016 to 2026, looking around 5.6%. Okay, makes no sense. A lot of people, this is still a labor job, and it does require some type of skill because welding is not easy. Personally trying it myself, it's not an easy thing. It does require some type of skill. With a lot of people, with employment, they're saying it's 389,000, which is quite a lot of people learning this job. And at the same time, when infrastructure comes to age, you gotta look at it. When infrastructure decreases, everything will age, everything will break down. So look at, bridges, anything using metals, your housing, any projects, they're gonna degrade over time. So someone coming in welding will solve that problem. Same with vehicles. Designing vehicles and welding, building up frames, welders are there for the job. So this includes building bridges, building roads, automobile, anything requires metal. Of course, has the potential for its job growth. So when I look at this, it actually has quite a lot of growth. There's actually a bunch of channels that out there teach welding. It teaches for the population of people don't never really thought about how welding works. So there's certain YouTubers, I'm not gonna mention their names because there's quite a lot out there, but they'll teach you how to weld. But those people, those are the ones that broke out the niche. So they're saying a welder makes about $41,000 a year. That's basically nothing. Getting close to minimum wage. Like not at minimum wage level, more than that, like about 10, 20 grand more, but you know, that's still not enough for you to survive a really comfortable life. At this point, I see living a comfortable life, you have to be making around the 100K mark. At least, you know, scratch the 6-figure level. And 2 people making 6 figures, I mean, yeah, that's great, but you know, what happens if you have 2 people making 6 figures? Same thing. More money, the better, right? Gives you more options. As I mentioned in this video, more options leads to more opportunities. A welder has actually a really great potential. But compared to a photographer, I think a welder sits between, just same as a roofer. Has a pretty good potential, but not perfect. So I'll give this around a 4, 4.5 also. The reason why is welder can design a lot of unique products and objects. For example, someone wants a special type of automobile, maybe extensions, maybe a new body kit, maybe even a house where they want to like turn this house into a special type of unique room, maybe a hotel level style room, maybe design a new roof, work with anything with metal objects, design a really unique shape. So as a welder, those are the requirements. And also, you find those type of clients are perfect for you. And how you market yourself as a really special, unique welder for unique situations. You got social media, as I mentioned in the previous job. As a roofer, you gotta market yourself. If you market yourself out to the public, especially with social media, your job potential has grown exponentially to the point you will even pass doctors itself. So as a job potential, for income potential as a welder, give it out a 4. And same with a roofer, around 4, 4.5. Really good. Number 5 is water transportation worker. So this one is pretty much really a niche. So based on this article, they make an annual wage of $54,000 a year on average, but for projected job growth to 2016 to 2026, 7.6%, with a total employment of 79,866 employees. So this article, water transportation worker, even I don't know much myself without doing any research. So after doing some research, it seems like they're mainly more of a government contract usually, or a really giant enterprise contract for shipping companies and stuff, where they have to maintain ships, boats, move cargo across lakes, rivers, oceans, and other waterways. So look at this job, I don't know, the stress level on this is probably gonna be a lot higher than normal because you have a lot of risk at uptake. So when you're driving these large cargo ships, you cannot, crash them. You crash them, you have insurance you have to pay for them. You have to deal with a lot of other stuff and the weather. And most likely you will be out of town a lot. You will not be with your family a lot because you have to be going traveling. So think about that. So as a water transportation worker, its job potential, yeah, it's going up, but income growth potential is not looking too great because the base on this job, it's pretty stressful and the risk level, it's pretty high. And transportation workers, a lot of people can learn that. That's the problem. It's nothing super unique about it to the point that I can personally see myself that, can grow. Like compared to a photographer, compared to a roofer, compared to a welder, those can have really special niches. And it has been proven already. It's been proven on YouTube. And you can look at those people, look how much they used to make and look how much they make today. It's extreme amount. It's so big to the point it even make doctors and lawyers and all the high-end paying jobs look like a joke. But as for this case, the water transportation worker, hate to break it to any people working there, I mean, if you're comfortable making a median of $54,000 a year and you don't go any higher, then that's fine. That's good for you. If you like it, go for it. But as a person getting in, looking for a job, If you're looking for potential income growth, this one I'll look in between a 1 and a 2. Mainly, I'll probably put this on a 1 because your growth potential for water transportation work is not that great. To the point, it's literally close to none unless you own the company. But you own the company, you're gonna need money to start that company. So I got some people arguing with me. It's like, what happens if you own the company? And I tell them, you know what it takes to own the company? You're gonna need money first. If you don't have money coming in, you're not gonna get there. Next, you gotta own all the products, the goods, and the services. You gotta get the licensing too. Then you gotta get approval. You gotta get insurance just in case someone screws up on the job. Then who's gonna pay for it? The company will. And who's gonna be liable? The person and the company will. It's a lot of risk involved in taking. So it's basically, and it's also, a really high stress. And you have to deal with a lot of legal work too. So these are the top 5 worst jobs in America. And out of the top 5, I suggest 3 of them, as I mentioned: photographer, welder, and the last one, which is a roofer. Those out of the 5, greatest potential out of these top 5 worst jobs, apparently, that have the greatest potential for an individual to make an income surpass the median to a point that instead of working, they can turn this into a dream job, a living. That's the whole point in this. So compared to top 5 best jobs in America, this is the top 5 worst jobs in America. And out of the 2 I have to pick, I'll still pick one of the top 5 worst jobs because it has the greatest wealth potential to be grown compared to the top 5 best jobs. I'll see you guys next time on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe, and click the bell notification icon down below. And I'll post another video showing the top 10 jobs that I'm going to personally pick out of the whole entire list of multiple articles showing the best job potential. So don't miss out on that. And I'll see you next time on my channel. Peace.